I was quietly eating lunch in the break room when my manager slammed her hand on the table and yelled, "You're not paid to sit, you're paid to obey." Everyone fell silent as she ripped my sandwich out of my hands and threw it in the trash. I just nodded and said, "Okay then, let's follow the rules exactly." 3 weeks later, HR called her into a meeting after I documented every unpaid minute. She walked out pale, shaking, and never came back. I work in a shipping office in Columbus, Ohio. It's not exciting, but it pays the bills. I've been here 6 years now, mostly sitting behind a screen tracking orders and making sure the wrong stuff doesn't end up on the wrong truck. It's not hard, but it's constant. My days fly by in a blur of barcode numbers and spreadsheets. I don't complain. I show up early, I help out when things go sideways, and I try to be someone people can rely on. We used to have a manager named Carl who was chill and fair. He retired in January. Then came Jennifer. Jennifer Barnes. That name still makes me tense up. She was hired from some corporate branch in Detroit and acted like she was dropped in to fix a broken system. Only nothing was broken. She just needed something to tear apart so she could feel important. She strutted in wearing her high heels and fake authority, barking orders like she was running a military unit. The moment she stepped into the office, she changed everything. No personal calls even during lunch. No jackets on the back of chairs. "Keep your desks clean like your minds," she once said in a meeting. It made no sense then. Still doesn't. The worst part? She smiled while saying the most degrading crap. Like she thought we should be thankful to get insulted by her. First I stayed quiet. Let her throw her weight around. She was new, probably just trying to prove something. But she didn't settle in, she got worse. She loved humiliating people, especially in front of others. Like the time she made one of the temp guys cry because he used the wrong form. Or when she told a 59-year-old forklift driver he should get with the times or get out. It was only a matter of time before she set her sights on me. That day, I was eating lunch in the break room. We only get 30 minutes. I always bring food from home, usually something simple. That day it was a turkey sandwich with provolone, tomato, and mayo, the good kind. I made it myself that morning. I was starving. I skipped my break earlier to clean up a shipping mistake that she caused but pinned on someone else. So I microwaved my sandwich, sat down, put in my earbuds, and tried to tune out the noise. Then the door slammed open. Jennifer marched in like she owned the building. There were 4 of us in there. She walked right up to my table and slammed her hand down so hard, the ketchup packets jumped. "You're not paid to sit," she yelled. "You're paid to obey." Everyone froze. I took my earbuds out, not sure what the hell was happening. Then she reached down, grabbed my sandwich out of my hands, and threw it in the trash. "You think this is recess?" she snapped. "Company time means movement. Obedience." I didn't say anything at first. I just looked at her. Everyone was watching. Finally, I said calmly, "Okay then. Let's follow the rules exactly." She gave me a smug little smile like she'd won. But something clicked inside me in that moment. I wasn't angry, not yet. I was humiliated, yeah. But more than that, I was done. I had always been the guy who kept his head down. But this was going to be different. She thought I was weak. She didn't know what I could do with a spreadsheet. Starting that night, I kept track of every single minute I worked that I wasn't paid for. Every time she cornered me 5 minutes before lunch and gave me a small task that kept me at my desk until the break was over, I wrote it down. Every time she made us stay late without logging extra time, because the system's acting up and we need to be team players, I documented it. Every time she scheduled mandatory meetings 15 minutes before the start of our shift and called them voluntary huddles, I logged it. But I didn't stop there. I printed out the employee handbook and highlighted everything, especially the stuff she violated daily. I downloaded the state labor laws. I made backup copies of everything I tracked and emailed them to myself from a private email. I took photos of posted schedules and even filmed a short clip when she yelled at someone during their break for taking too long in the bathroom. I wasn't planning on revenge yet. I just wanted the truth on paper. But then something happened that made this personal. 2 weeks after the sandwich incident, Jennifer called a department-wide meeting. She pulled up a slide that said accountability starts with you, and then spent 20 minutes going over all the ways we were slacking. She singled out people, showed charts of idle minutes, even joked about installing cameras in the break room so she could monitor productivity better. It wasn't a joke. The next day, there was a small camera on the ceiling. We weren't allowed to speak privately anymore. That night, I called in a few favors. I had a friend who used to work in HR. Not for our company, but she knew enough. She helped me organize my documentation into a clean, tight report. I added a section where I invited others to share their experiences too. No pressure, just honesty. 3 of my coworkers joined me. We kept it anonymous. We didn't sign our names. Just dates, facts, and receipts. And then I submitted it to HR. Not the little local office. I sent it straight to corporate, with attention to the VP of Employee Conduct. I used a burner email. Then I waited. That next Monday things changed fast. HR called for a compliance review. Everyone had to attend. Jennifer was there, sitting front and center like she was running the show. Until Everett walked in. He's the head of HR. Calm, gray-haired, always looks tired. He nodded at us, sat down at the front and pulled out a thick file. Thank you for your time. We've received some serious complaints about management behavior in this department. Jennifer looked confused, then nervous. Then she got pale. Everett asked her to come with him privately. They stepped into the side office. We all sat there in silence. No one said a word. We could hear muffled voices through the door. 15 minutes later, Jennifer walked out.
No clipboard. No purse. No laptop.
Just her phone and her coat. She didn't speak. Didn't even look at us. She walked out the main door and never came back. We weren't told everything. Just that she was terminated immediately. But word spread. Someone in payroll said she tried to claim the logs were fake, until she saw the security footage and timecard screenshots that matched our reports exactly. She didn't just get fired. There's talk she might have violated labor laws bad enough for legal action. Not from us, from the company. Apparently they're worried about liability. HR offered back pay for everyone who was impacted. They let us revise our hours for the past month. We got our breaks back. And the camera in the break room? Gone the next morning. Everett personally thanked me, even though he didn't know I was behind it. He just said, "Whoever documented this saved a lot of people from getting hurt." I didn't do it to be a hero. I did it because I was tired of being told I wasn't paid to sit. I thought it was over after Jennifer left. I really did. But I should have known better. The office was calm for about a week. People were laughing again. Folks brought donuts on Fridays. Our breaks felt like real breaks. No more whispering or watching the door every 5 minutes. We could breathe. Then the rumors started. It began with a weird memo. We got an email from corporate that said, "Due to recent events, employee compliance with workplace standards will be under review for the next 90 days. No one knew what it meant. We thought maybe it was just some automatic HR policy after a manager gets fired. But then things got strange. First, Jennifer's name started popping up again, in emails. Not from her but about her. Apparently, she had filed some kind of wrongful termination claim. She was trying to say she was the victim of a smear campaign. That a group of employees had ganged up on her and made up false claims to get her fired. She called it targeted insubordination. And the worst part? She was trying to come back. We didn't know that until someone in HR, I won't say who, told me in confidence that she was appealing the termination, and her lawyer was threatening to sue for defamation and lost professional standing. Apparently, she was blaming me. Not by name, but the report I sent in? It was clear. Too clear. And someone from payroll leaked that Jennifer had requested to see the original complaint. I was sick to my stomach. Even though I used a burner email, I knew she'd remember that day in the break room. I knew she remembered what I said. Let's follow the rules exactly. She knew it was me. Then corporate sent in someone new to observe operations. His name was Dennis, supposedly from the Atlanta office, here to support and stabilize. He acted friendly at first, too friendly, asking weird questions during lunch. So how was it working under Jennifer? Would you say things have improved since she left? Ever think managers are held to unfair standards? He wasn't just observing. He was investigating. We started watching what we said again. The silence came back. Nobody wanted to get pulled into this mess. But then Dennis made a mistake. He sent a meeting invite to the wrong person. A temp worker. Instead of inviting Brianna from accounting, he invited Brian, me. I almost declined it. But curiosity got the better of me. The invite said, Employee grievance follow-up. Review of claims involving JB. I showed up to the meeting early. He looked surprised but covered it quickly. Oh, you're not the one I meant to invite, he said. But since you're here, maybe you can help. Off the record. He started asking loaded questions. Do you believe everything in the report was true? Do you think some of it might have been exaggerated out of frustration? Would you be willing to clarify who exactly started the complaint process? That's when I knew. Jennifer wasn't just trying to clear her name. She was trying to pin it all on me. I kept my answers simple. I don't know who sent what. I don't speak for anyone but myself. I just want to do my job. But inside I was burning. That night I went home and pulled out everything I had saved. Every file. Every photo. Every timestamp. Then I wrote a full report. Detailed, factual, emotionless. I named every person affected. I listed every date, every policy broken, every pattern. And then I sent it. Not to HR. Not to Dennis. I sent it directly to the chief compliance officer of the entire company. I attached a short message. If this company is about accountability, then let's be accountable. If I'm being investigated for following the handbook, I'd like someone above Dennis to look at this. I've saved everything. I'm not afraid of the truth. 2 days later, Dennis was gone. No warning.
No farewell.
His desk was cleared out before lunch. And that same afternoon, we got a company-wide email. We are launching a full review of regional compliance oversight. Employees who have been subject to retaliation or intimidation, past or present, are encouraged to reach out to our confidential hotline. No action will be taken against anyone who speaks up. That's when the floodgates opened. People who never said a word during Jennifer's reign started sharing stories. One woman from the receiving department said Jennifer used to dock her hours for clocking in too slowly. A guy from packaging said he was once forced to come in on a Sunday, unpaid, or risk being replaced. Turns out Jennifer had been doing this stuff for months before I even noticed. And now it was all out in the open. But this wasn't over. Because just when I thought she'd stay gone for good, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Just one sentence printed in bold all caps. You think this is over? You have no idea what you started. The letter shook me up. I stared at it for a while, just reading that one line over and over. You think this is over? You have no idea what you started. No name.
No signature.
Just those words typed in bold and printed on a cheap sheet of copy paper. No postmark either. Which meant it was hand-delivered. Someone had dropped it in my mailbox.
No envelope. No stamp.
That meant they knew where I lived. I didn't sleep that night. I got up at every little sound. I looked out the window more times than I can count. I even moved my car to the back alley lot just in case. I wasn't paranoid, not yet. But I wasn't stupid either. The next day I brought the letter to HR. They said they'd look into it. But I knew that meant nothing. It wasn't a threat, technically. Just vague enough to not be illegal. But I could see it in the way they glanced at each other. Someone had tipped them off that this was deeper than just a bad manager. Still, I didn't let it stop me. Instead, I doubled down. I reached out to a labor attorney. Not to sue, not yet, but just to get my facts straight. I brought her the documents I'd saved, the letter, and a printout of the policies. I wanted to know where I stood. She told me something I didn't expect. If they're retaliating now, that's a bigger problem for them than it is for you. You're protected. But you need to start documenting again. Everything. Even if it feels small. So I did. I started a second file. New folder. New logs. New screenshots. Because things started happening again. First my hours changed. I used to work 8 to 4:30. Then suddenly I was temporarily reassigned to a 10 to 6 shift. They said it was for coverage purposes, but no one else's schedule changed. It made no sense. Then came the write-up. I was pulled into a small meeting room with a supervisor named Kelly. Someone I'd gotten along with for years. She looked uncomfortable. "There's been some concern about your attitude," she said, sliding a paper across the table. The write-up accused me of causing division, undermining management, and creating a hostile atmosphere by encouraging distrust in leadership. I laughed. Out loud. Not because it was funny, but because I knew exactly who was behind it. "This came from Jennifer, didn't it?" I asked. Kelly blinked. She's not even with the company anymore." "Right," I said. "But she's still talking to someone who is." That night, I went home and made another copy of everything. This time onto a flash drive. I gave one to my lawyer, one to my older brother just in case, and saved one in a secure cloud account. I also filed a whistleblower complaint with the State Labor Board. I didn't care about being liked anymore. If they wanted to play dirty, I'd play smart. But then things got worse. My apartment got broken into. Nothing major was stolen. TV's still there.
Laptop untao.
But the top drawer of my desk, where I kept my flash drive and backup notes, was wide open. Some papers were missing. Not all. Just a few. The ones with handwritten notes from co-workers who didn't want their names used yet. I filed a police report. But I didn't expect much. The cop who showed up said it looked more like someone looking for something than a normal break-in. No signs of forced entry. I always lock my door. Always. That's when it hit me. Jennifer used to brag that her niece worked in property management. Back when she first moved here, she mentioned it offhand during a lunch meeting. Said she got her apartment through family connections. What if her niece had keys to my building? I couldn't prove it, but I couldn't unthink it either. 2 days later, my attorney called me. "Brian, you're not going to like this." She told me that Jennifer had filed a complaint with the Department of Labor, claiming that she was retaliated against by employees, and that we had created a toxic environment that forced her to act the way she did. She was flipping the whole story, and somehow she'd gotten hold of one of the partial logs, one of the incomplete ones with only a few entries and no names, and was using it to say the complaints were sloppily organized lies. "I don't know how she got that file," my attorney said. "But if it's from your apartment, that's not just retaliation. That's intimidation." She paused, then said quietly, "It's time to stop playing defense." That night I made one more call, to someone I'd been avoiding. Tom used to be an assistant manager under Jennifer before she got promoted. She treated him like crap too, always taking credit for his ideas, throwing him under the bus when things went wrong. After she left, he transferred out quietly. Said he was done with office politics. But I called him anyway, and he told me something that blew this whole thing wide open. "She's got dirt on someone in HR," he said. "That's how she lasted as long as she did. There were complaints before you. From drivers. From temps. Nothing stuck." "Who?" I asked. "I don't have proof," he said. "But she and Dennis? They were texting outside work. I saw them talking at a bar once. Too friendly for just co-workers." He hesitated. "And she used to brag that if she ever got fired, she'd take certain people down with her. Said she kept her own records. Photos. Recordings." "What kind of recordings?" She never said. But whatever it was, it scared people. So now I'm sitting here with a flash drive full of evidence, a legal team prepping for escalation, a manager who's been fired but somehow still pulling strings, and a company that's scrambling to protect itself. But I'm not scared anymore. I'm done being quiet. After the break-in, the letter, the write-up, and everything else, I was tired. Not scared. Just tired. I knew I couldn't go back to the way things were. Even if Jennifer disappeared tomorrow, I wouldn't feel safe knowing she had people inside the company. People who helped her, covered for her, maybe even fed her information. So I made a choice. I stopped trying to protect the company. Up until then, I had been trying to fix it from the inside. Get the bad manager out. Clean up the damage. Let HR handle it. But now I wanted it all exposed. With my lawyer's help, I filed a formal whistleblower complaint with the Department of Labor, the EEOC, and OSHA. I attached every single piece of evidence, the time theft logs, photos, screenshots, emails, security footage stills, and even the copies of the shady write-up they tried to use against me. But I didn't stop there. Remember that confidential hotline the company set up? Turns out it wasn't just for complaints. You could also request a third-party workplace audit if retaliation was suspected. And if you filed multiple entries under separate departments, it triggered automatic escalation. So I got organized. I asked 10 different coworkers from 10 different departments to file complaints, each detailing a different aspect of the company's toxic behavior. Jennifer, Dennis, HR cover-ups, everything. We staggered the reports over 2 days. It worked. By the end of the week, the company announced that a third-party legal and HR compliance team would be conducting interviews and reviewing internal records. They shut down the Columbus branch to focus on rebuilding culture and trust. Everyone, including me, was pulled in for interviews. That's when I dropped the bomb. During my interview, I handed the investigator a manila folder. Inside were screenshots of Jennifer texting Dennis during work hours, sometimes while sitting just feet apart, an email showing Dennis forwarding one of my logs to a private Gmail account, a voice recording of Jennifer threatening a temp, one of the ones I'd hidden my phone to capture months ago, photos of the door to my apartment, taken right after the break-in, along with the police report. The investigator didn't say a word. He just took it, closed the folder, and told me I could go. That was on a Tuesday. By Friday, the entire Columbus HR staff had been suspended pending investigation. By Monday, the company had fired Dennis. Jennifer? She didn't get her job back. She got a subpoena. Turns out when she filed her fake labor board complaint, she listed documents that didn't belong to her. And some of them were private employee records. She claimed she had proof of her innocence. But when the legal review team checked the source, they found stolen files tied to an internal server she should never have had access to. She was hit with charges for data theft, breach of confidentiality, and obstruction. And because she crossed state lines with those files, she had emailed them to herself after moving, it triggered a federal-level case. Gets better. During the investigation, someone leaked one of the internal audit reports to a journalist at a local paper. The article went viral. The headline: Fired Manager Triggers HR Scandal. Employees uncover deep culture of retaliation, wage theft, and threats. People started talking. Former employees came forward. Contractors. Even an old driver who said Jennifer once made him sleep in the warehouse overnight because she didn't want to pay for a hotel. The company tried to bury it. Too late. About 3 months later, I got a call. It was from the VP of Operations. Not some local manager, the guy who ran 5 states worth of warehouses and logistics. He didn't waste time. "We failed you," he said. "We failed a lot of people." He told me they were offering a settlement. Not hush money, it was part of a larger class action resolution. Everyone who had worked under Jennifer during a specific period would get paid back wages and a damages bonus. Mine was bigger. Because I kept the records. Because I reported first. Because I refused to back down. $87,000. Taxed, of course, but real. I used it to move. Now I live just outside Asheville, North Carolina. Still work in logistics, but for a smaller family-run company. Quiet place. They respect my time. I take lunch every day at noon. And no one bats an eye if I'm a few minutes late logging back in. As for Jennifer, she pled guilty to 1 federal charge and 2 state charges. Avoided jail but lost her career. Can't work in management or handle employee data again. Ever. Last I heard, she was bartending in a small town near Toledo. Bitter. Broke. Alone. Dennis. No charges, but he was blacklisted from corporate HR. Works in real estate now. The fake smile kind of job where nobody trusts you anyway. The others? Well, some people got fired. Some quit before the heat caught up to them. Some just faded into the background, hoping no one would remember their names. But I remember. I remember every minute they made me feel like I was small, powerless, worthless. And every time I bite into a sandwich on my break now, I smile. Because when they said I wasn't paid to sit, they were wrong. Turns out, I was paid to remember, to document, and when the time came, to burn it all down.